So what next is the title of my presentation. We all know it. I luckily remembered that I used to study politology at the Tartu University when I was younger, and what I remembered was that the task of political scientists is to forecast the elections and later clearly or explain why it didn't go the way they predicted it to go. And this is how I will present my presentation today as well, in a similar spirit. How will the business software develop? When we talk about the ERP software, as a developer of such software, it is strange to say that the biggest changes that have taken place in business software development have not been within the software itself, but rather around it. So the AI and everything related to it as the main cause. But to understand where to move next, it's reasonable to begin with where we come from. What is business software in itself? ERP, or business software, I will use acronyms every now and then. This is a backbone of the company's information system. It covers all of the main processes, starting from leadership, accounting, sales, customer management, payrolls, and so on. All of these data are in a logical system, single system. Every company probably uses business software in one way or another. If you have accounting software with the warehouse accounting, then this is ERP. If you have 15 different Excel charts and you use Outlook for customer management, then this is not ERP. Then you don't have it. You have a problem then. The classical answer is that ERP has been a very passive system. They enter data, the data is saved in a database, and the person must know what kind of data they need to withdraw from the database at a certain moment of time. Nowadays, ERPs are no longer passive. Even if we use our own example, ERP with bank interfaces, they go and ask for details themselves. ERP recommends updating stock in your warehouse, considering the previous use of stock. They forecast the future use. And in the same way, all kind of e-invoices. These are not passive. And all of the system can be built without any human interference. Invoices come in and invoices are paid. So a lot is automated. However, expectations have increased. What they expect from ERP today is not barely having the invoices coming in or purchase invoices entering the system and someone then doing something with them. We expect the information getting to the decision maker without them actually knowing they need such information. The reports must answer to different questions, not only that have occurred, but also to the questions that they haven't thought about yet. The system must understand the context of the specific business and also understand what I am dealing with, whether what kind of a business I am. So specifics are different. Technically, the logic seems similar. Today, it is so that when we develop something in ERP, then every adaptation takes time. It's especially true when we talk about ERP software, standard box, standard ERP. With every change, we have to analyze how this specific change will impact the different customer groups that we have. So this causes a little delay. It is not necessarily a mistake or criticism towards the system. It is just the logic that's working in the system. In pre-AI era, we couldn't do it differently. Things took time. Now, once we got to the real reason or the elephant in the room, then in the past years or even past months, AIs have improved enormously. Software development has changed drastically. Previous to the business forum, I decided to be brave and stay away from the office for a couple of weeks. I thought that everyone are preparing for the business forum anyway. There is not much going on in development. All of the plans had been set. And when I came back, many plans had actually changed and gone live. So what is it that the AI has changed? One thing is programming itself. I heard somewhere previously a very good sentence that the code is free of charge. Today, AI can write a very very good code for the program at a high level of quality. So programming has become communicating with the prompt. AI helps to write and test the code and also writes the documentation relevant to the code. What else from ERP's side? What has changed, especially in the past years? APIs, the communication standards, have become a human right, we could say that. Previously, for every interface, we had to connect them from .1 to .2. It took a lot of testing and time, and benefit was limited. Nowadays, all of the systems actually have open APIs. We can create a bank interface, web shop interfaces. They can carry out interfaces with us, all kind of logistic partners, and so on. So all of these systems are speaking the language understandable to each other. I have been asked previously, with how many different systems we have interfaces to, and the honest answer is, I don't know. We might count what we have created, but the systems that have added the interfaces without our help or knowledge, we can't count them. We just don't know about it, who has done what. Third point, which is the most interesting and important in software development, is that we can create prototypes very quickly and it has become cheap. Previously, in order to develop something, we needed to think about it thoroughly, write the specifications, maybe have screenshots, agree with the customers what they want to see. Now it is easy. You look up different options, what to offer to the customer, and then they can pick the suitable solution for them. Things that previously took weeks to do now can be done, the prototypes can be done in a couple of hours and then can be validated quickly. So wrong solutions, which were costly to both sides, are now in the past, we could say. Now, AI and ERP, how can we connect them? One of the things that have reached us is that different AI models are now integrated in the business software. For example, for stock accounting, they can check how from different suppliers, depending on the supply times, would it be reasonable to order goods, how prices impact supply, forecast cash flows, not only what is written on the invoice, but they can actually take into account what has been the behavior of the clients in the past regarding their payments. External signals can be taken into account. For example, in certain businesses, it is very important the weather. For example, they have taken into account the weather in the next couple of weeks, inflation as well, anything that is publicly available, any data can be taken into account. Expense receipts, entering all of these expense receipts. I would like to hope that there are not many of those who do it manually. I don't see any reason to do it so in the Estonian Republic. We have so many scanning options and detecting all kind of anomalies. Payments that are different from the standards or deviate from the standards. If to one supplier we have paid by 100 euros every month, and then suddenly there is an invoice in the amount of 10,000, then AI will notify and ask, is it correct or not? And an example, what we have added to our portal is that the financial indicators of the company can be analyzed by the AI as well. They will look under the right accounts, among the right numbers, the necessary information, and then displays it without the CFO having to do any calculations or having to look at an Excel chart. So the first AI use in ERP, which we have thought about and which we have taken into account that you might need. Another side is that ERPs should be open and everyone should be able to create their tools, AI agents or whatever they're called. The opportunities to use it are numerous. First example from real life, sales manager can, for example, write somewhere in Latvia, for example, present me a report of the last 3 months about the customers whose turnover has dropped by more than 30%. AI gets the text, looks for the right numbers, and creates the display or report in real time to the requester. And now what is missing here, every time this result might not be the same. If the prompt is used very widely and if we are very general in our questions, AI will have to think about how to answer to it. So if the prompt is very specific, then every time to the same questions we get the same answers. Another thing that is used, overviews of meetings, and when we record Teams meeting with the customer, transcript is created of it, and we can automatically take it to the business software, to customer management part. It will be in the history, and we can send an overview of what has been agreed with the customer, and we can continue with creating our offers and other activities. And most widespread examples of AI are these chatbots. You can see it on any web page nowadays. Client communication is managed a lot with the help of AI. And here you can develop it further. If the customer identifies themselves, they can ask for the latest invoices or where the next maintenance is coming up. So all of these kind of things can be asked. However, it's not all. There are other opportunities to use AI for your own good. In the previous example, there is a bottleneck. We don't really know what happens with the data. Once the AI takes the sales data or records, whether we upload it to Claude or ChatGPT, and when we read their license terms and conditions, then they say that these data are not being recorded anywhere or used. And then we ask a bit more, AI will say, well, to train our models, we don't use the data. And once we ask more questions, the AI will say, according to the law, we need to record certain things. And when we ask even more, the AI says, yes, we actually record all of the prompt for at least 3 months. So depends on your level of paranoia, what to send where. This you have to decide on yourself. But when we look at the AI and when we use it to create tools, then these data don't need to move further. For example, we can create different dashboards. We just have to give the AI the task, saying, I have such and such ERP, I need these data. AI will write you the program, which will do the job for you. In this case, you don't need to upload the data anywhere else, or the data will not be moved to anywhere else. I'm looking around in this room, and once we created this display for a customer to enter the working time, and you can see we used AI tools for it, but actually AI itself is not used in this process. So people's time they spent at work did not move further from our system. And different scripts to get some repeating documents in your system. If we constantly receive 20 similar PDFs, then we don't actually have to pay for the use of AI or digitalization. We can just create the script which reads the similar document each time it arrives and does whatever we need to have done with it. So what is this new point of view? We have the core for business software, for financial accounting, taxes, payroll, and so on. It's stable. As a CEO, I would like my business software to send reports to the tax authority, and I need to know that this is correct, that it has not been invented by someone, and AI will not have to think about how it should actually put together the TSD, the tax declaration for the tax authority. And what is added to it? There is a flexible layer, we call it periphery, which contains AI agents which can take data from ERP, different integrations, our own developments, dashboards, and so on. The core is stable. Financial experts, as we know, are the most conservative group of people in the world. So around them are pieces that are not meant for business clients. And the prerequisite to all of it is that ERP is open, is that you can interface it to external systems. And this is why we can have our developments created in it. So API should enable to read and write the data, and through it you can pick the right tools you need and also pick your partners. With closed ERPs, it means that every integration must be done by the ERP developer, so you are tied to the business software owner. And I wanted to point out that with the export of different files and submitting them to AI, it is a workaround. It is not the direction we want to take. Let's say it's like putting autopilot on a steam engine or steam engine, so you can't develop anything further from it. So briefly, what happens with our data? If we use AI agents, then data move to the service of the service providers. They move there anyway. It is not a problem in itself. We have to understand that at a certain point of time we lose control over this data. According to GDPR, it is not forbidden to use AI as long as we understand what is done with our data. What you should pay attention to and be careful with are delicate data which you don't want to give to AI. Payrolls, sick leaves, personal codes, it's so-so personal codes. But in these cases, if you want to work with this data, you should create the tools that keep the data under our own control. Could anyone create their own business software? It has been asked several times. Will we close down because anyone can create their ERP? Well, basically, yes. Tools are there. You have to understand, however, that software development is not only about writing a code. For years, we have all had spell check in Word, but it doesn't mean that we can create wonderful books thanks to this. Software development is much more, if we think about the architecture, testing, version updates, security or safety. If we create it ourselves, are we certain that no one can access the data? And in general, what does the architecture look like in the future? I would recommend you not to do it if you are not a software company. So a bicycle shop sells well bicycles and maintains them well, but they might not be good at doing software development. But maybe they will, who knows? Future business software. It's an ecosystem offering more possible to adapt. There are new service providers. When we talk about developing the tools, bicycle shop might not have the competences to create the necessary tools. We have tens of thousands of companies in the world already who offer with snippets and gadgets, creation services done with AI. And an important thing to remember, creating special solutions will become cheaper. The core that we are in will remain the same, but on top of it, we can create in a more easy manner and client-specific solutions. My time is running out. A few more ideas. If anyone asks if ERP will disappear, I think not. Managing companies needs stability. Data has to be trustworthy. Our communication with the state has to be trustworthy. Innovation moves to periphery. So the ERP core will be surrounded by different interfaces, and eventually it will be difficult to understand where is the ERP system and what are the peripheral solutions to it. It is important to think about how to use the AI, whether we use it for processing the data or whether we create tools to process data. Fourth point, competences are critical. If a person knows nothing about software development, then maybe it's reasonable to leave software development with the help of AI to those who have the competences. Thank you. And thank you for your presentation. I would like to test the audience. Who understands well what is API? Oh, let's ask, who doesn't understand what API is exactly? You can raise your hand. It's not at all embarrassing. I had to look into it very thoroughly to understand it. What is API? And then I found this comparison. API should be something like a dinner at a restaurant that you can imagine very well in your mind. You're someone in the hall, and there is a kitchen somewhere. Cooks are cooking very well something. They know how to do it well, and you would also like to be a part of it. So the API is actually the waitress or waiter who brings things to your table from the kitchen. So in order to understand it all, there was a weekend where a very enthusiastic programmer in their family created a vibe coding lesson and aping the vibe code. And they created the API using the vibe code. I have always the issue that I have to send invoices to accounting about where I went to, where I came from to get this transport compensation that is meant for me. And it's annoying. I know that online there are some kind of diaries I could use, but I always forget about it. And now I created my own, for real. And it is not complicated. Well, it is actually, but I'm not sure that without the help of Henry I would have done it. But in the end, I managed to do it. I got the API from Google. In general, there is a button whether I start from home or whether I insert the address of my start. Then I enter the endpoint, and I can say whether it was a round trip or just one way. It measures from the map application the distance very precisely, writes it down, and once my monthly information is there, I click Create Excel, send it to accountant, and it's done. Yes, and as you said, API is actually a described layer of data exchange. Yeah, the waiter. Don't say data layer, exchange layer. Let's say, go to the kitchen, get the food, bring it to me. This is data exchange. Yes, and at the same time, we have agreed with our how to communicate with our waiter. We agreed on what is the input, what we expect to get. So the analogy is very good. But I wanted to ask from you. You said that this was not complicated, but at the same time, it was complicated. Now, should you create another thing which is similar? Would it be easier or not? I believe it would be a little bit easier. It is clear, however, that if you have someone next to you who understands something about it, then it's easier. Because just with the help of AI to vibe code it, it's not possible. It helps you, but you don't understand how the AI understands your prompt. Sometimes it understands your words a bit differently, and maybe your prompt was wrong, but you don't know it. So the AI sends you to another place, and it says, now I understand what you want, what you need and want. So the real world is not like that yet, that I can just sit down and vibe code and I have my software. So you are right. Those who know what to do, they are much more efficient in it. As the waiter, as you said, when you tell them, just bring me something to eat, you don't know what you could get from the kitchen. You might not get anything. The waiter wants to know exactly what you want, so they might just give you the invoice right away. Yeah, soup and egg. It's a clear instruction. But now, how does the work time calculation take place in the online? Well, we have the online application. You insert the hours, pick different types of work hours. You click save, and then it moves to our software. Why is it not possible or on the e-invoice map change the name of the supplier or company if the cost pocket robot has misread it? Very detailed questions. Well, these are the questions I have. Probably the reason is that they have to ensure that the data is correct so that we understand what kind of data has been inserted. And why don't you have your own e-invoice solution? Why do you have to cooperate with service providers? It was a strategic choice once e-invoices were used in Estonia about 12 or 13 years ago. We didn't think it was necessary to become e-invoice operators, but maybe in the future we might change our strategy. Reports on client sales statistics, it's not possible to pick comparable period, but it should be elementary. I will answer differently. In our software, we have 943 different reporting ways, so it's difficult to say what is the exact reason. So they should come personally to you and talk to you. First of all, go to our homepage. There is a button and ask, could this problem be solved? And our customer service, then you can discuss it. You can discuss it with them. Two questions about ERP from a different point of view. I feel like the question is similar. Closed ERP, is it strategic risk today? Yes, for sure. And then you say ERP is the backbone of a company. Does it mean if the ERP is bad, then the whole organization is actually bad? Well, yes. If I don't get my data that I need from ERP and I can't insert the data, then it is a problem, yes. And the same question from different point of view. Why do companies pick closed solutions while we can see that openness is a benefit? I think it's because people don't think about it sufficiently. They don't think about the future. When I think about today, I need the money, I need to send the invoice, get the receipt paid, I need to send the declaration to the tax authority, and it seems as if I didn't need anything else. Last question, Sven. As we already ended the last presentation and podcast, what is this one thing when you go to the first break, what should be the main idea you should take away when you leave this hall? Maybe the idea that the AI is a tool you can use to create new tools and that you have to test. Indeed. Thank you, Sven. Excellent CTO.